This is a letter for George. Letter ni George to his son, Jonathan. 8-year-old lang si Jonathan. Gusto niya kasing emulate yung father niya. So parang tayo siguro, may mga idol din tayo. Gusto nating gayahin siya kung paano. So here it is. My dear Jonathan, I have just received your very interesting letter. Pasensya na kayo pag medyo mali yung pronunciation ko kasi Bicolano. Bicolano ang maurag, ha? And I thank you for sending me copies of your first pictures. I like especially the one you took at Stonehenge when you photographed the shadows on the ground rather than the stones themselves. I wonder what made you do that. Do you know? Your questions are rather difficult to answer, but I shall do my best, and if you don't understand just now, I expect you will a little later on. Your first question, I think, is the only one that really matters because the answer to that is also the answer to all the others. You ask, what must I do to be a photographer like you? Yan. If you hadn't put like you at the end of the question, the reply could have been much easier to answer. How can one explain something that is non-technical, intangible, and that comes from deep inside? As a matter of fact, I bought a book written for photographic beginners that was going to give you for your birthday. On the first page, it says that light travels through the air at 186 miles per hour per second. And on the very last page of all, it says that another part of a camera not yet discussed is the viewfinder. So, as you want to be a photographer like me, I can't give you this book for your birthday. I disagree with it. I couldn't care less whether light travels at 186 miles, 1,000 miles per second or 186.99 point. It is quite irrelevant, but I do think the undiscussed viewfinder is all important. Of course, at the very beginning, you must observe some slight technicalities. You have to, if you are going to express yourself aesthetically by means of a purely mechanical instrument, those were the days kasi wala pang digital, no? Mechanical. Focus, aperture, etc. But these should become reflexes as soon as possible and then be forgotten. They should be as instinctive to you as opening your mouth when you bite an apple. Then, with this reflex established, you can concentrate on what you see in the viewfinder, for it is through the viewfinder that you establish the link between reality and your own interpretation of it. Remember that everything that you see on the ground glass of your camera is reality. Things as they are. Photography is what you make of it. You look into your viewfinder and what you see there may be pretty and gay, or it may be sad. Your heart may stand still for the horror of it, or your eyes dim in pity or in shame. But it is all reality, and you must know what to do with it. I don't think anybody can advise how you should know what to do with it, except by telling you to be true to yourself, and that is rather vague. Certainly, ayan, Bicolano na. You cannot interpret what you see in your viewfinder and make it into a good picture without having the understanding of it. You must feel an affinity for what you are photographing. You must be part of it and yet remain sufficiently detached to see it objectively. Like watching from the audience a play that you must know by heart. Unfortunately, there is no formula for acquiring this knowing by heart. This understanding, it is something that comes from within your heart. But you can train yourself towards it, and actually the basic training itself has little to do with photography. It depends very much on your own personal knowledge of the world and your ability to perceive and accept how other people live in it. You would never gain very much by jet flighting from one flesh spot to another, wearing an expensive camera around your neck like a rosary and expecting the world to stand still while you search for some elusive truth. But try covering the same distance in an old car that is guaranteed to break down every few hundred miles and see what you end up with it. By the way, have you ever observed a chameleon? It is very interesting animal. Mabilis na to. Rather like a lizard. But besides being able to swivel its eyes right round, so it looks backward, it can also change its color according to its environment, and it is green in grass, turn dark brown as it rests on a log. Every nation, race, or tribe has its own peculiar ethics, its practices, and dignities. It shibboleths all your difference from your own, but they are just as right and justified in their world as you in yours. Therefore, you should accept these things, and the more you know of them, the better. Develop your own chameleon touch until you blend into your surroundings and feel as much at home. There is wisdom in this which will reflect in your pictures. Learn languages, all the languages around the world, Spanish, English, French. Learn to eat with chopsticks, or for the love of Allah, using your left hand. And whenever you are, avoid gimmickry. Gimmickry, ha? Good photography is based on truth and integrity. The gimmick is only the poor man's way of excusing his lack of talent, his inability to compose a picture without trickery. Let your picture composition be honest, pure, strong, and well-defined. It is a matter of design, and the less complicated the design, the more pleasing it is unto the eye. And I think this is really all I have to say to you at this time. It is to you to interpret the reality. I spoke about it, the beginning on all these terms. It is how I see it and what I believe in. I don't say it is necessarily right, but think about it and don't be in too great a hurry. It took me 30 years to find all this out. I don't expect you to digest it in half an hour, but please don't write next week and say what you really want to be is to leave school and become a fighter pilot. Your affectionate father, George Roger. Si George Roger is a founder of Magnum Photo Agency. So for those aspiring photojournalists, for more inspiration photos, you can log on to www.magnumphotos.com. Lahat ng photojournalist like me gusto mag-member ng Magnum, kaya lang kailangan maging meron magno-nominate sa iyo, tsaka napakahirap. So, ang nakuha ko lang Magnum hardware. Anyways, salamat po sa inyo. Thank you.